Hey everyone, this is Pastor Dane Johansson from Agros Reformed Baptist Church in Gilbert, Arizona. Today I wanted to do a Bible review of this new Church Bible Publishers Interleaved Bible here in the red ironed calfskin. I've seen a couple of this exact edition already here online, and they go pretty in depth about the calfskin leather. So you can find those. I want to focus mostly on the use of this and the insides and some things you guys might want to use this for. Starting off, I did want to make this comment about the leather. It's super nice. In fact, it smells just absolutely luxurious and fantastic, even to the point of in my room upstairs in my office, it actually smelled up the whole upstairs with the smell of the finest leather. So this is a really nice calfskin. I know I said I wouldn't talk much about the leather, but one thing about the Church Bible Publishers iron calfskin, for me online, it always looks kind of cheesy. I don't know if that's the right, if you understand what I'm saying. It almost looks kind of synthetic and too smooth or something. But in person, when you actually get one of these, which I've had these before, when it used to be local Church Bible Publishers, I had some of their iron calfskin, and this is the same company, still the same people. I always just thought it looked kind of cheesy or something, but it's actually luxurious in real life. If I get some light on that, you can see the grain is just amazing. Anyway, enough about the outside. Red is very, very red. I didn't think I'd like it, but it's actually growing on me. One thing you want to be aware with the light-colored calfskins or leathers is that over the years, especially if you hold your Bible a lot, this will rub off, or the oils and dirts from your hands will stain the spine black after a while of use, but I kind of like that look, so I'm looking forward to when that happens. It is a synthetic liner, and it is edge-lined. But where this Bible really shines is the fact that it is interleaved. I mean, in between each Bible page, there is a blank page that you can write on. This does have both the epistle dedicatory and the translators to the reader for the KJV, so that's really nice. But as you can see here, here's the book of Genesis, chapter 1, and you have your blank page. And it lays flat out of the box. I did break this in, but even out of the box, it laid flat. You turn the page, you got your blank page, text. Turn the page, blank page, or blank page and your text. Turn the page, text, blank page. So it's like that all the way through this Bible, and it's basically a note-taker's dream, as well as you have a wide margin here on the outside. For preachers, maybe you could write your sermon notes. One thing I don't like about it is the lined. Not because I don't like lines, but because they don't go all the way to the edge, and there's not enough of them. So if you were just to use the lines as they are, they're kind of thick. You would really run out of room pretty quick. You could write a brief comment in each verse. So I don't really like the lined paper that much. I wish it was just blank, or if you've seen their sermon notebook, it's very small, thin lines that go all the way across. I would really like that because I write small, but some people might really enjoy this. Obviously, you can use it for sermon outlines if you're a preacher, just your own personal notes as you're studying. Even if you are a preacher or a layperson, whoever you are, you can fill this up for years and years of notes. One thing I want to say, I've had other wide margins and interleaved Bibles before. I'll actually compare this to one of the other interleaves I have. Something I've encountered and learned from is that you don't have to fill it up right away. You know, this can be an heirloom for your kids, for yourself. Just because you're studying a passage and reading doesn't mean you have to write something, or even write a ton. You know, you don't have to write a huge exposition and commentary on everything. You can just read it and mark notes and prayers and quotes and stuff from commentaries as you go if you'd like. For me, I always felt pressured that I have to write a bunch. But here you can see what I've done here in Proverbs. I was studying this morning. It's got 2 red tassels, and here's one of them here. So you have your text, a 9-point font, and the ghosting is way worse here on the camera. And then your blank text. Because I'm kind of using the paper differently. I actually divided it. Just took a ruler and drew a line down it with a Pigma micron, 0.05 micron, 0.005, sorry, micron, and divided it so this column gets this part of the page and this column gets this part of the page. So I use a Pigma micron. I love Pigma microns. They don't bleed through. They last. You can get them wet and they don't run. Sorry, it's a little windy out here. You can see my notes. One thing with a Pigma micron though is because it's so thin, the one I use is I tend to write a little bit more sloppy than I actually do when I have a Pigma micron. One thing you can do with pages if they curl from writing from your hands or whatever is just kind of bend them back the other way. Again, this thing's meant to be used and written on. Let me show you a page where I'm doing something. I'm using that outside margin because there's so much space in this. Here's some exegetical notes I preached from Philippians yesterday. This is not my sermon notes. These are just my notes as I was studying. I preached from Philippians 3, the whole chapter. So here's my notes as I was studying. And here's the other page, the other side. Pigma microns don't bleed through. There is show through, but they don't bleed through. Again, the ghosting's way worse on the camera than it is in real life. So I have my just exegetical notes, cross-references, quotes, stuff here on this side. And then on this side of the page for the outside margin, I'm going to use it for some cross-references, word studies, things like that. Like here you have conversation in the King James. So I defined that, a modern version of that, and then modern definition of that, Then the Greek word, topilevtima, and just some basic notes like this that I have to do here. We have concision, talk about mutilation versus circumcision here. So I'm using this outside margin for word studies, maybe specific cross-references, just very brief stuff, and all of my thoughts, notes, quotes, prayers will be on this outside. And one thing to note about this, paper's thin, but it's nice. It's not premium paper, but it's still really good paper. Printed and bound in the U.S. Some other notes there. So that line down the middle did not come with it. I've added that in places that I'm working on. Here's the end of Revelation 22. You have your standard blank page. Then you have 14 front and back, or 7 front and back, 14 blank pages total of more lined paper to write. Then you have your index to the maps, which is on the same Bible paper, which I appreciate. Then you have your maps on non-glossy cardstock. Sorry, forgive me for the wind. Let me try to move here. And then that's it. You have your back liner and back cover. But anyway, there's multiple things you can do with this. I know some people like to journal and draw pictures or paint in here. Probably watercolors and markers and stuff are going to be a little bit too thin, the paper. So I would just keep this for writing with a pen that doesn't have a lot of ink coming through, so not a fountain pen. Pigma microns are probably the best. Maybe the Sharpie pens are also good. The felt tip Sharpie pens, those are probably good as well. But yeah, there's a multiple things you can do with this. But again, because I was studying out of here, I wrote a lot, but I still left room, and this will be something that you can use for years and years, probably the rest of your life, to write notes. One thing that's helped me over the years is to realize that I don't have to fill it up right away, that I can take my time over the years adding stuff and just use this as my reader. Maybe some of you want to keep this as your desk Bible at home, because it is a mid-size. It's kind of going towards a large Bible. And just take notes at home and not use it for your everyday carry or everyday study. Just when you have a thought, you put it in here. There's tons of different things you can do with it. I'm just showing you what I've done with it. Again, just kind of a brief overview of what I did here in Philippians. Here's my commentary and my notes and my thoughts, cross-references, and then here in the margins I've put word study, and I'll put other cross-references and stuff there, more specific ones. So anyway, Paper's super nice. Again, it's labeled a mid-size, but it's kind of erring on a large Bible. And there's my hand. I don't have big hands. It's my hand. Thickness of it. It's about this size. Here's a good example right here. Reformation Heritage Study Bible, if you're familiar with that. I have it here in goat skin. So here it is open. And here also is this open. You can kind of see it's about the same size Bible. Almost identical, actually. And as far as thickness, good night. Sorry about this, guys. Wind's blowing my pages everywhere. As far as thickness goes, they're about the same footprint. So if you have the Reformation Heritage Study Bible, or pretty much your basic standard study Bible, it's going to be, well, it looks almost literally exactly the same. So yeah, that's the same size. If you have the Reformation Heritage KJV Study Bible, then the Interleaved Church Bible Publishers is the identical size. Maybe the Reformation Heritage is slightly thicker, or maybe this is. I don't know. It's not art gilded. Well, with red. Every church Bible Publishers is art gilded with brown. You see how it's not just white pages, it's brown, but it's not art gilded with red. You can either add that later or just accept the beautiful gilding that they have. They have the best gilding in the business. Anyway, it's almost I think it's the identical size, if not slightly thicker, but not by much. So for an interleaved Bible, this is a great size. I mean, you can carry this. I preached from it yesterday. You can carry it around, take it to the coffee shop, Bible study, church, or leave it at home. I mean, it's a manageable size. I want to show the difference here between this interleaved and that one. So if you're familiar with the Ritchie Newberry Reference Bible interleaved, this is much smaller than the Newberry. So you see that's just massive, and this one's more manageable. I've taken this to church before. I've preached from it, but it's a beast, and I like their full blank page. Anyway, trying to keep this brief, kind of meandering thoughts. Here's a local church Bible publisher, Cameo wide margin from years ago, if you're familiar with that, or Church Bible Publishers, Cameo wide margin. It's about where it compares. Obviously, much smaller. It has way less room. I've used this a decent amount as well. But yeah, that's the Cameo. This is the Interleaved. So you've just got a wealth of room. Again, one thing I wish personally it didn't have is the lined pages, or if they had lined them, much smaller lines and all the way to the edge. My only real complaint with this Bible. Otherwise, it's a great Bible. Right now, I've been reading from it every day, and then also studying in Proverbs and a couple other places. So I really like it. I think it'll last a lifetime. Of notes and comments and questions and prayers and illustrations, whatever you want to use it for. But it's a thinking man's study Bible. This is one that's already done for you, the Reformation Heritage and any other study Bible. This is a thinking man's study Bible. Makes you think it out yourself and apply it to yourself. See what you actually believe on a text. Anyway, guys, hope that was helpful. Seeing kind of some of the things I've done with mine and some of the different ways you can use it. Hopefully that was helpful to you, and God bless you.